This is the Lockpicking Newbie, and today we have the second of subscriber Jeff's grandpa's locks. This is the Popular Mechanics lock. It's a brass lock, about 45 or 50 millimeters maybe. I first got this open once or twice, and then when I came back to it to go start doing it on video, didn't get it open. And I'm like, what the heck's going on here? But let's go ahead and get started, and then I'll talk about what surprised me about this lock. All right, so I have the 50 thousandths bar rather. It's kind of snug in the top of the keyway, but that's perfect. It gives me a lot of good feel. And then for this lock, I'm using this #1 hook, but in 18 thousandths. And it makes a difference here because I'll try to illustrate. With the 25 thousandths bar, it drags between this warding here and then just the little that little edge right there, and it kind of ruins the feel. So I did switch to 18 thousandths. That might be decisive in being able to single pin pick this lock. Okay, so here we go. I'm starting with kind of middle light tension. 1 is completely loose. 2, okay, you heard it going in stages, and that is basically what we used to call, in my mountain biking days, we called it stiction, static friction. And basically what happens is, as the pin is being bound up in the chamber, it has a certain amount of friction on it when it's not moving. That's static friction. And then once it starts moving, it's into dynamic friction, which is less friction usually, and definitely in this case, than the static friction. So what that does is it makes it feel kind of jerky, burp, 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 like that. And it makes you almost feel like a serrated pin, but it makes it mainly just feels terrible. So that's what was going on there in pin 2. And then as I was starting to talk, I actually got another little click out of 2. So 2 is actually pretty deep in there right now. So 3 is binding. And then I just got a little click out of it, and I'm going to hold it right there. 4 is binding. Another little click, and another, we're just going to hold it right there. And then 5. Okay, now here's a point in the lock where we've got to figure out what's going on. So I just kind of touched 1, and I got some movement in the core. So let's try to find who's the binder now. So 3 is actually way back up in the keyway again. So I'm going to push it and just try to watch the wrench here. Okay, I got a little bit of counter rotation, and then I ended up with a little less core rotation than I started with. So that's interesting. Then I overset it. Don't know if you just picked up on that. So then I eased tension and got rid of the overset. Now 4 is also way up in the keyway, and then I'm also going to go get that click. And then 5 is up in the keyway. Got a tiny little click off of 5, and I kind of put some pressure on it, ease the tension. And if you can see there, that sort of looked like counter rotation, but not quite. So I eased my tension and let the pin come back up. Now I'm on 4 doing the same thing, counter rotation. And now I got a little bit more core movement and kind of like a false set. So what in the world is going on here? Back to 3, more counter rotation, and now a deeper, what we now know is a false set. And now 1 is kind of up in the keyway now. So I got to find a point to lever off of. I'd rather lever off of this little piece of warding right here. Let's see if I can do it. Counter rotation. It's sort of tricky because the angle. Okay, so I got counter rotation and a click. Then I sort of lost the false set, so I kind of jabbed at it just a little bit more and got it open. Okay, so here's what happened with this lock. This is a little stinker, this lock. Because the first, like I said, the first 1 or 2 times I opened it, I just kind of went click, 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 open. I'm like, what's hard about this? So then I went and sat down to get it on camera, and I hacked at that thing for 9 minutes and got absolutely nowhere. So I slowed down, felt it out some more, and as I'm just sitting in my chair, fooling with this lock, boom, I'm in a false set, and holy cow, I'm getting counter rotation. Jeff, this thing's full of spools. I think pin 2 is probably the standard pin, which is sort of a gatekeeper. And then as you go through and touch these spools one by one, I mean, I think this is probably, would probably be about an orange belt lock. It's got 5 pins. Yeah, so it's got spools and 5 pins. So I'm pretty sure that'd make it about an orange belt lock. I can see where it'd be tricky because the first, like I say, I didn't realize it had spools in it early on. And then all the static friction with the pins in the chambers really makes it more difficult to recognize what's going on. It doesn't ruin the feel completely, but it definitely makes it more difficult to realize what's going on. So that's kind of what I learned here. Now, I thought about hitting this up with some Houdini or some Tri-Flow, but I didn't. I wanted to try to get it without fooling with it, but because I am sending these back. But when you get this back, feel for that static friction. Consider using some lube like Houdini on it. But okay, so there you have it. I swear, when that thing got into a false set, I'm like, no, that's not a false set. But sure enough, it is. That's all I have for you today. Thanks again, Jeff. I really appreciate you trusting me with these locks. And next time we'll have a go at the Yale. This is the Lockpicking Newbie. Have a good day.